Martial law lifted in liberated territories. Military governors have been installed from the Baltics to Odessa, and the severe restrictions imposed by martial law on the population have been lifted. While Russian garrison troops still maintain order, and the hunt for organized partisan cells continues, this marks the first step in an orderly transition towards a republican future. Meanwhile, construction teams have arrived from Russia to begin repairing the significant damage done to critical civilian infrastructure by the Reichspakt terror bombing campaign. Excitement at Petrograd docks. Shipyard workers celebrate the laying of the keel of the two new Sevastopol-class battleships, as the Russian Empire prepares to enter the club of global naval powers. While Russian submariners have successfully hunted convoys in the open Atlantic for the duration of the war, the Baltic Fleet had been relegated to training exercises. With the introduction of modern capital ships, power projection beyond our immediate shores becomes a possibility. Colonial horrors discovered in Africa. As Russian expeditionary forces advanced across the lowlands north of Lake Victoria, they are greeted by the reality of colonial occupation under Governor Ritter's Reichskolonialamt. The retreating colonial Schutztruppen, recruited from the local population, are fearful of retribution, and our men encounter burned-out villages, mass graves, and starved workers emerging from forced labor camps on rubber plantations. As we push towards the Kenyan capital of Nairobi, what food can be spared is handed to civilians, and the Persian administration taking over matters is under strict orders to prioritize humanitarian aid where possible. After driving a wedge into German positions south of Brest-Litovsk, the city is burning from artillery preparation and bombardment, and we are getting ready for the main assault on the city proper. This will be led by the 14th Army Divisions and supported by the 6th Army Heavy Tank Divisions. We are unfortunately somewhat low on supply. That is simply because while the supply hubs are capable of supporting this, we are at the edge of their supply. So taking Brest-Litovsk will secure supply along the front line and further reduce the amount of available supply to the enemy. But Bialystok is going to be the key here for the northern sector of the front, where Germany is still running significantly large-scale tank attacks. We're looking at this point, 34 German armored divisions that are crashing into the Memel position. And we have to, concentrate a fair amount of troops there, especially the specialized anti-tank divisions, which are capable of, if they actually make it to the front line, which are capable of repelling these German and combined Austrian assaults. That said, there is a large number of enemy troops, especially infantry, concentrated around the somewhat weaker southern flank here. And I am looking more specifically at sectors like the Odessa sector, where we are seeing a massive concentration of German infantry forces, of probably about 2 to 3 field armies on this sector alone. So we may have to begin strengthening these positions a little bit. This is all held by Casagrandi's 2nd Army. So that's the Odessa sector in the south here. And then we have the Pepelayev's 3rd Army, which is just consisting of regular infantry. That said, the main difference between the regular infantry divisions, this is support RT, engineers, support AA, field hospitals, and regular artillery, whereas the latest iteration of the Guards divisions have flame tanks. They do have line anti-air and 2 artillery, and they do have the patrol companies, which makes them more suitable towards attacking. And that means what we could do here is we could generally just add a 2nd line artillery. We have line artillery here. We could add a 2nd line artillery to this division, but that would require 3,000 artillery in general. However, not if we're just duplicating that, and we're going to just save that as a new one. In that case, we can begin, and this will improve the soft attack by 45 and improve the defense as well. So that's that. And then we can decommission the old one, and we can do. We can take Pepelaev's Third Army, which is all on the First European Front under Denikin. We can take his Third Army and convert that into the. That's needing a bit more total. Getting a little bit more towed artillery. Actually, we have a few guards divisions here. We don't need to include those. That needs a little bit more artillery than we have, but it does. I think we can. Yeah, I think we can do that, given that attacks have not launched yet, and this will be delivered with or supplied with equipment as we go. Now, the Air Force is moving south towards Ukraine because the next tactical assault is not going to be against Brest-Litovsk itself, but against the southern flank of the wedge. Because if we're launching an assault into Brest-Litovsk, that gives the relatively strong German forces around in the surrounding areas an opportunity to counterattack into the left flank of the wedge, which means we have to secure that first. And for that, we are going to do a full tank assault with the 3 light and 2 heavy tank divisions that we have available here into the southern province, and we are going to support that with regular infantry from the eastern line, pushing the line forward and supporting the attack against Brest-Litovsk by preventing counterattacks. Now, this is happening in the Ukrainian air sector, so we are going to. That's why we're moving the aircraft around. We are going to have to. We have significant bomber forces, mostly Austrian and more Austrian. So we've got Austrian bomber forces in Ukraine quite significantly, and we need to deal with these as well. In the north, we have forced the surrender of one of the Swedish divisions, and I believe we have a bit of an opportunity here to cut off some enemy divisions, and to that effect, we'll send the 64th. We'll send the 64th to try and get a surround on the enemy here, while we are using the 34th to pin them in place. There we go. So that's underway, and if we can hold them for long enough while the 64th makes their way through, we can try to entrap some of the Swedish forces here. In general, the front lines are a bit fractured still. The Norwegian forces are helping to hold it, but we are working sort of out of the Trondheim supply positions in order to try and destroy as much of the Swedish army as we can. We have a potential opportunity there's not an awful lot in the middle here, and trying to take this supply hub is going to be a far stretch. We could attempt a push towards Göteborg along the coast here, but we also have potentially significant naval forces in the Danish belts and the Baltic and the eastern North Sea. So I can't remember why I have that locked. We'll unlock it for now until something else becomes necessary. But this is we are apparently transferring supply through the Baltic. I would prefer if we didn't do that. So let's cut that off. That should deal with the supply situation. If we need to supply, we're probably better off going through the Norwegian coast, because the Baltic Sea is still somewhat under control of Reichspakt forces. And we have begun the construction of these Sevastopol class battleships. And obviously, once we get sufficient numbers of dockyards, we get the Ismails refitted as well. We do have a few focuses that we can use to gain some free dockyards. So I can focused the construction more on the infrastructure repairs, and we're obviously building still significant numbers of military factories, because we are we're beginning to produce close air support planes, and we are starting to see the first production of the 203 millimeter super heavy howitzers as well. And with that, we have a fair few, I think in general, we still got a fair few holes, a fair few gaps to fill, but we're starting to get there from an industry perspective. What worries me is that Germany is able to create and maintain 35 armored divisions. That is definitely concerning. So I am going to schedule a few more heavy tank divisions, definitely. We've got one that is still not yet filled, but these are, we'll put them on regular equipment. And we're still creating some guards divisions for a potential conflict in the Turkish theater, as well as some additional mountain divisions and a few. I might actually get two more, a few Marines as well. So all in all, we're still below our maximum of supported divisions of 300, which means we still got a bit of room to reinforce, but we are obviously now facing a consolidated Reichspakt that is in control of most of Central and Western Europe. And as such, we could bring Greece in, but the Ottomans are sort of a remnant of a problem where we need to have forces to actually deal with this situation. Last front we are supporting is Kenya, where I believe we may have an opportunity here. And I'll reorganize the front lines a bit. So effectively in Kenya, we are holding the Kampala supply hub, and we have the Malakal railway line, which needs to be held. So this flank here needs to be sustained, and we cannot rely on the Persian or Indian allies to necessarily do that. However, we may have an opportunity to push towards Nairobi here and take out Nairobi, the Kenyan capital. I'm not sure if Kenya would immediately capitulate, or if they would move the capital to the government to Mombasa. But there is an opening here, so I'll reorganize the front lines a bit. And yes, we have potentially an opening here, and we only need one division to move there. Not sure how many German troops are stationed in the mountains north of Nairobi. But we've got we're pushing them out a bit further here towards to secure the northern flank, and the rest seems relatively static because nobody has supply anywhere. So that's the overall situation. We are sinking convoys relatively unhindered, and I think last thing I wanted to check, I think Germany has a noticeable. Okay, they actually managed to get rubber from Ceylon. So they, despite the fact that we are holding the Suez Canal, they'll probably simply be able to ship it around the Cape, and then through the gauntlet. First, they'll be intercepted by Russian submarines, and then they will be intercepted here, which means I can probably let's see, this is regular ocean, this is deep ocean, which gives us improved submarine operations. I'm considering to shift just to make sure that they're not slipping through, because they could potentially manage to get through the Mediterranean with their rubber deliveries. Now that I'm not sure if the French Republic would allow them to do that, but I'm going to take the North Atlantic Ridge. Come on. Okay, I'm going to try and take the North Atlantic Ridge off. There we go, and add the. I think I'm going to add the Bay of Biscay. The English Channel is no good because that is shallow, which makes it very difficult for submarines to operate. The same goes for the Mediterranean, so these are not ideal. And I think the African coast may be slightly at the edge of our, yeah, that's outside our range. But I'm going to shift focus towards the Bay of Biscay, just to prevent any shipping to slip through past our submarines as much as possible. And we are also sinking Swedish convoys in the Baltic. We have about 1,000 mines, and I think that might even be the cap. I'm not sure. We might try lay a few more. Well, we haven't really managed to sink anything from the mines, but I think, yeah, given that we are, it's having an obvious effect on naval supremacy, but we're not putting any ships out. So it restricts the enemy movement, but we haven't managed to actually sink any transports that way. However, the submarines are starting to hunt down a few Swedish transports, which supports the theory that Sweden has deliveries to Germany. So Germany is capable of replenishing their air assets, which is a problem, and obviously makes Ceylon a significant target, but we would have to rely on the Indian Federation and their navy, because we're not going to be able to easily get naval forces out of there. This is all long-term strategy, however. For now, we are going to focus on the short term, and I'm going to have to reorganize my views here, because we have this particular shortcut. The next one, Memel seems to be reasonably secure in holding at this point. We just have to keep an eye on if anybody makes any moves. But we're going to get the 6th Army on the 2nd focus, and obviously the troops in Kenya on the 3rd. I'll reorganize the front lines and then we'll get going. All right, so we've got the 176th, the 167th, and the 183rd on defensive duty to make sure that the railway connection is holding. And I think we're including the 169th here as well on this. The rest of the divisions, so 5 divisions, are operating on the more offensive push towards capitulating Kenya and clearing out the enemy troops there. We are moving across here, and we are making an attempt at the assault south, and we're going to get just a few infantry divisions, not all of them. We're going to get a few infantry divisions to support that, just to widen the line of contact and enable us to have additional firepower in the area. So this means, unfortunately, we have some... Okay, that's actually a river crossing. That is less than ideal. But these are relatively weak divisions, so I think we can probably push them out from the plains without too much trouble. And I might temporarily divert that tank division here to support the eastern leg of that assault. And we are getting, aircraft are on the move towards the Ukrainian air zone and should be joining the fight shortly. Memel is secure. And here we are making our way through. So I'm going to have to switch. And carefully monitor the multiple situations that we're looking at, because we also have to be careful that the Germans here north of Nairobi are not making a move. The Mountaineers should be the first ones to make it there. So we will have some infantry available to us to potentially hold them pin them in place. The critical one obviously is this one here. So we've got 6 divisions on the assault at this point, most of the heavy tanks as well as one of the divisions. What I don't like is the absolute. This is just a friendly one that's joining. What I don't like is the absolute lack of supply here. But there's not an awful lot we can do short of taking Brest-Litovsk. But for now, we are looking at pushing them out from this position here. And I'm just going to have to keep an eye on the north to see... Oh, the tanks are moving. There seems to be some movement among the armored divisions and some redeployment. Oh yeah, there's a lot of movement along the front lines now. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on that, because I'm not sure if they recognize the danger of this attack. But it could also be a general redeployment towards another Schwerpunkt. Like these are somewhat worrying me, because we've got 15 divisions here against 30, So that's a 2-to-1. If you include that, that's a 3-to-1 overweight on offensive, and that may be able to break through despite the fortifications. So I will have to be somewhat careful. This is supported by, we're seeing attacks in the north, but it's sporadic attacks from Austrian troops. So nothing to worry about too much. How's the situation here? Okay, unfortunately, we may have to push these troops out here as well. Unfortunately, we are already pushing these exhausted Swedish divisions south, and that gives and we are getting counterattacked now by the 30th Infantry. And that's why I'm sending the 60th to push them out. I'm not planning to actually necessarily, well, we might take the position, but my main goal here is to catch these before they get away. But we might, given that they're retreating south, we might not be able to do that necessarily, unless we took a really long detour, and then the whole front line becomes a little bit more fragile. So something we need to keep an eye on. We now have aerial superiority over Ukraine, and we are beginning to deal some significant amount of damage to the enemy. And the question remains, okay, there's a lot of troop movement here now. That's something we definitely need to keep an eye on. If they're opening, if they're moving, yeah, you can see it which divisions are still entrenched, and they have some security, some divisions here to hold the lines, but they are moving a large number of troops around here. That may be a response to the attack we're launching, but we will see how that goes. All right, south. Okay, we have managed to move towards Nairobi, but we're now getting counterattacked from the north, which is less than ideal. So I might actually, we'll launch an attack of our own. And I still have one. Yeah, I want these divisions here actually along the southern line. This relieve. Yeah, this means that the 8th Wehrbezirkskommando is now in multiple combat, but the 144th Guards are not going to be able by themselves to push that through. What I want to avoid is that the mountain division gets exhausted in their push towards Nairobi, because I do want to take Nairobi, but I think we can make that happen relatively quickly. Okay, that attack has been defeated. In Sweden, we are probably not going to be able to overrun this position easily, but we need to close the gap regardless. So I'm going to follow the momentum with the 34th. And I am actually not planning of opening the front lines here. I just wanted to push the 30th away. And the 64th is going to continue south. So we'll continue the push to close the gap and potentially now they got away, unfortunately. I was hoping that we could overrun them, but they got away in time. However, we are able, and it's good that I held the position, because otherwise they'd have been counterattacking here. But we'll still try to close the trap on the divisions in the north, and we are counterattacking them, or trying to hold them in place now with the 154th as well. Right, the assault in the south is progressing, but slowly, because they have a large number of troops here. However, once that armored division there joins, we should be able to support that a little better. Okay. Oh, I haven't set the air superiority. That's why. Yeah, that I was wondering for a second there why this didn't happen. Okay, now we should actually be contesting the air. And yeah, there we go. Green air over it. That should make things a little easier. And that should reduce, that should generally reduce the, yeah, we get a bit of a reduction on the defense from the end. We don't have the actual impact yet, because we don't have the air wings. We don't have the air wings with ground support, close air support running. It seems that a lot of the German tanks, I think Guderian is on the move. So I'll have to keep a very close eye on that, depending on where he goes. Not seeing any tank concentrations. The Germans seem to be focusing on armored pushes, which makes sense. And we are now actually getting. We lost 2 submarines here already. That is less than ideal. We have sunk a Swedish convoy, but the Germans are now coming out with light forces in support of that. So I think that is a sign that we probably should go back to mine laying, because the submarine losses are not something we can currently support. All right, and in Kenya, okay, we're holding them in place in the north. I think we can stop that attack now, because the mountaineers should make it to Nairobi before the German troops can arrive to defend it. And with that, I think we should have that line secured, and then we'll wait for the rest of the divisions to catch up. In fact, actually, we don't want to extend south. We will probably, once we've taken Nairobi, we've only got the 1 mountain division. We could push towards Mombasa, but that would stretch the front lines quite significantly. So I might actually, unfortunately, I need 4 divisions to hold the line here, because that is a core position that needs to be held against enemy infractions. So in general, we are running a little short on troops in Kenya, and we will see how that goes. All right, we should be making our way across here under German air bombardment relatively quickly, and the assault south of Brest-Litovsk is slowly progressing. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on the Swedish situation for now. Yeah, and I think we will get 2 divisions probably here, and with that we can, once we have this location secured, I'm going to leave this one here to recover. The 34th can close the trap and then assist in the destruction of these 2 Swedish infantry divisions. I don't want to get too far, because we'll be running out of supply here, but we have completed Field Hospital 3, which is good news, and we have an additional division now that was busy dealing with the surrendered Swedes near Trondheim. Okay, Field Hospital 3 is done. So that would be another 10% war support protection, which we need, because while we are working against the impact of the combat casualties, overall war support is definitely not in the best shape. So we do need to convince the people at home. Engineer 3 is, I think, what I'm going to go for next. That is definitely, that would give me another 4 entrenchment, another 50% entrenchment on the regular engineering. And actually breakthrough on the armored engineering. That would be, that's actually, there are some really interesting options. I haven't used these yet, but we'll keep going. All right, we've got, what do we get? This is what we use for trucks, I believe. Yeah, so that's what we're using for trucks. We could get, this would be rocket artillery, which we're not using at this stage. So we could get 20% speed, don't need that, or 20% speed. Okay. Don't really need that. Instead, we could get 25% breakthrough for 30% production efficiency gain debuff, or 25% breakthrough for max speed reduction. Max speed reduction is not a problem, because none of the tanks actually make 12 kilometers an hour. They're more focused on armor plating. So we may as well do that. We'll see if this works. In the last version, it didn't. Yeah, it's not working. Did it? Or did it create the new variant? Okay, it did create a new variant. And that should be... I'm not sure why I don't see the... Can I see the... Okay, I can't see the breakthrough variant. I don't have the upgrade there. I can't see the actual... Usually I would expect there to be a plus X breakthrough or something. See, that's why I prefer doing it by hand. But we'll replace that. Get the new trucks provisioned. We're starting to see some of these super heavies trickle in. I might have a quick look and see if these would make a noticeable difference for the assault divisions. Can I deploy these as regular? No, this is just regular artillery. So I can probably not deploy these as line artillery. Can I switch? Yeah, I can use it as support arty. So that would require 3 super heavy howitzers, and that would give us additional. Let's just put it in. That would give us. Can I get the value? Thank you. 11 on soft attack, 2-5 defense, 2-9 heart attack, insignificant amount of piercing, and 7 points on breakthrough. That's actually not to be sneezed at. These are armored divisions due to the presence of the heavy assault guns and the heavy flame tanks, which are leading the charge. So that might actually be worth doing. It is going to need, probably after the assault on Brest-Litovsk. Okay, that would be the loss of 2 submarines for 1 convoy. So we'll get back to mining operations for now. Where are Guderian's tanks? There's still 1 panzer division that is running the assault, but I don't see the rest of them. So unless, until I see them again, they might be, okay, actually, no, we see, okay, yeah, they're hitting, yeah, that's where they went, all right. So Guderian has rapidly redeployed south towards the Odessa line, is now attacking here, which means we are going to need to quickly redeploy the majority of our anti-tank forces. So let's get 9 divisions positioned south, and that probably a little shorter than that. There we go. So, yeah. I thought I selected 9 divisions. Let's get... okay, there we go. 9 divisions of the 12th Army going on here. And I might actually have to redeploy the operational reserve as well in case they break through there. How many tanks are there from Guderian's forces? So I've got 2, 9, 19 division. Oh yeah, that's a significant number. Okay, so the Germans are very good at rapidly changing tack and changing positions here. So I'm going to get the tanks to redeploy there. I do have a railway cannon here, which we don't need along the front here. So I can actually redeploy that towards Odessa, a railway gun, and get that underway. And we are having aerial support. Ooh, they're deploying heavily here now. So that means, yeah, they're not actually deploying to Belarus. So Germany is running an assault here, quite a significant assault, which means that they consider this potentially a threat and are trying to launch a counterattack along our southern flank here. This is potentially problematic because we have reasonably few divisions here against a massed. Right now, it's just single panzer divisions. But if all of these start crashing into these positions with 3 regular divisions, I'm not going to hold that. Even though they are some of them are Guards divisions. But they're not the most modern. We would have to get Casagrande onto the more modern Guards templates, but obviously don't want to do that in active combat. So yeah, we are going to need probably, how many tanks do they have in the north here? 5. These are just a few Austrians. Yeah, it's just the Austrian tanks. So I might need the mountain divisions as well to help with the defense. So I'm going to get them redeployed towards the Odessa line too, to redeploy to bolster the defenses here. No attacks yet from these significant infantry conglomerates, but I'm not happy with the weakness of this line here, especially that this is just regular infantry. I could, in an emergency, quickly deploy. These are not yet trained, so they're very green. I could deploy a few Guards divisions to bolster the lines in the center here as well. But they're still green. But they could simply just help out with holding the line here on the second European front, which is more of the aggressive one. It's probably the third European front. Yeah, that would be the one doing this. What did I do with this particular division here? I cannot remember why I have this division separately. I think because I temporarily assigned a mountain division to the 11th Army. but right now 11th Army is in good shape, so I can just put it back, I think. Yeah, okay, now we've got that sorted. Okay, so situation update. We are about to close the trap on 2 Swedish divisions. We have the ongoing effort to push the Germans out south of Brest-Litovsk, and we are making progress there, slow as it is. We're going to get another heavy tank division crashing into that particular one, so that should assist as well. And we are keeping the enemy at bay. And we do have aerial superiority, which is, at this point, 16.6% defense debuff, which I take. But we're seeing rapidly escalating assaults of German panzer divisions against our fortifications near Odessa, and that is something we need to be worried about. So can these troops, okay, the tanks are, these need, the mountain divisions need to, at least the ones that can extract themselves, definitely need to railroad to the front line. This one as well, but that's still in active combat at this point. So pack up and go. Kenya situation. We're holding Nairobi against enemy counterattacks. And quite successfully without too much trouble. Now, obviously, yes, the government has retreated towards Mombasa. What we could attempt, because Nairobi is a supply hub, and we have railway there. So once in 5 days, when we have supply in Nairobi, what we could attempt is to try to crush the army first before we take Mombasa out. But or we could try to hold the line here, but that wouldn't leave us with much firepower to swoop north without going for an eventual counterattack. So I think we're going to go for we're going to try and see if we can push back and encircle the remaining forces in the north before we are trying to control the territory. Here we are, how long are we away? This is going to be there in 10 hours. So, okay, this can probably run. This is what we need to keep an eye on, and actually this position as well. So this is seeing increased numbers of German tank forces coming in now, and here's where we sort of have the problem with the lack of firepower on these divisions. And that's what we need the reinforcements for, to deal with the German panzer troops that are crashing into our lines here quite noticeably, while obviously making sure that Memel itself can still hold. But unfortunately, the 12th Army troops are still engaged in combat. Actually, okay. Now they are no longer engaged in combat, which means they need to rapidly redeploy towards the Odessa front, and then sort themselves onto the lines. The rest of the troops will have to hold. We are controlling the heavily contested air over Ukraine, which also means that the assault on Brest-Litovsk proper still has to be postponed. But we have the 9th the 9th heavy tank division, no, not panzer division. That's not German, Terry. We've got that in reserve now, so we can. I think what we can do is we can stop the infantry assistance here, and we get the 9th the 9th heavy tank division hopefully onto that, and that means okay. First, the assault in the north has stopped, but they're now concentrating north of Odessa, and they're starting to commit significant reserves here. So, can we pierce these? Mostly, we can pierce some of it. 55, 56, 58 armor on these medium tanks. These are definitely modern tanks. So the Germans have replenished their tank losses quite successfully. And yes, we once again have the problem of having to shuffle troops around, which is unfortunately not the best way on the defense, because it takes a while. Okay, our submarines are actively being hunted now and we might see some more submarine losses here, by this German task force. There's not much we can do about it. I did get everybody back on. Actually, you need to go mine laying as well. I forgot one, that's why. Oh no, I changed the wrong fleet. You've probably been screaming. Yeah, we're not supposed to be mining that. We're supposed to be convoy raiding that. And this one is supposed to be mine laying. And this one too. Okay, yeah, I changed the wrong. I think I changed the wrong group here. So we were still sinking German convoys. That's probably rubber transfers. It would be very good if it was. And we now have the railway gun emplacement in place, which is going to further reduce further reducing the attack and breakthrough of the German heavy tanks, that they're coming under extremely heavy fire. All right, we have managed to, I believe, actually I wasn't looking, so this actually worked by itself. I think we have managed to destroy, where are this? Yeah, we've got about 22,000 Swedish troops to surrender, which means now comes the question, where do we go from here? And we could keep pushing them, and the lines are getting a little confusing at this point. We could continue pushing them, but I'm looking more for destruction of the Swedish army, honestly. And supply-wise, we have supply here. So what we could attempt would be, let me organize that a little bit. I have to clean up these front lines here. We could get the 3 mountain divisions. Where do we have an opportunity? This is all not particularly ideal, but we could attempt. We could just keep pushing along this line here and see if we can encircle a few more troops here. So we get these divisions assigned and this one here as well. Do I have it already? It should be 3 divisions. Okay, this one was missing. Yeah. All right, there we go. All right, so we're pulling them down, and we're sort of having a somewhat leaky front line here, unfortunately. But I'm looking for potentially an opportunity to cut off and destroy a few Swedish troops. May have to lure them into the rear if they're willing to go, but that's the situation. All right, in Kenya we are holding Nairobi, and I'm going to send the 141st out eastwards, not towards Mombasa just yet, just to, and we're probably going to attack for now with the mountaineers, just to hold them in place and see that we can hold the eastern position here until we have supply in Nairobi. So this is a diversionary attack while the 141st, I believe is how you say it, is moving out. This is unfortunately attackable from here, so we do have to. This is a very unfortunate placement here. Yeah, they can actually attack us here, so we do have to hold that, and because I don't trust the Persians to do that for me. But here in the north, we can, actually no, we'd have to go through them. So I think that division, I'm gonna, we do want to keep this, we do want to maintain this position, but I hope the Persians hold it. Somewhere I have to compromise. I am going to pull them south. I'm going to pull them south here to help with the encirclement, because we do need to get sufficient troops over to push them north against the Ethiopian border and then force a surrender there. All right, how's the situation here? We're still holding barely against these panzer attacks. So far, they haven't committed the larger numbers. They're still, and they're still somewhat unorganized. But it is a significant number of tanks. Now we cannot ignore Memel, because there are still 5 German panzer divisions out here. If they start having multiple points of concentration, then we're in trouble. But the Austrians are moving their tanks off the Memel front as well. So I think they're giving up on Memel. And meanwhile, we are continuing the attack against. The attack against the positions here. I could. I could move the heavy tank divisions out, but I do want the additional combat width here, because we've got 5 divisions. We've got 5, despite the fact that these have to cross rivers, which is causing them debuffs. But we do have now 5 divisions all in total committed to this assault. And while the infantry can hold the positions, so I think we are getting through them. Somewhere sooner rather than later. So that would be ideal. All right, Swedish troops have been pushed back, but we are operating further out from our own supply. Now this is fine supply-wise. So can I get 1 division here? And then we'll see if we can. Unfortunately, unfortunately, we're not going to be easily able to. No, we're going to need it here. I don't want to attack across the river. So what we'll do instead is we are going to try to push past. We're trying to encircle some of them in Elverum and see if we can chip away at their strength, because they still got 7 divisions here to fight us with. So more work needs to be done. All right, assault key is continuing. I do have to keep an eye on Kenya, because yes, we have to stop the counterattack into the north, because the 78th gets exhausted because it doesn't have any supply, and that must be sufficient for the 141st to make their way. I think they can get there before the Germans can, so that should be ideal. These troops need to recover a bit, which means we can focus on this attack for now, while keeping a very wary eye. But we are now having we're now starting to see the Mountaineer divisions coming in, and the 12th Army divisions are not far behind, so they're going to be assisting as well. How's the air situation over Ukraine? We've got green air over Ukraine. That is down to the abysmal enemy mission efficiencies. They're flying from mostly from Stanislavov, from Lvov, and maybe from Brest-Litovsk. So they can sort of cover the western part of Ukraine, but they don't have deep cover, whereas my aircraft have pretty much full coverage of the Ukrainian front, which means we are much more efficient. In 94% is pretty good. Air detection could be better, but we're working on it. And with that we are causing quite some severe damages to the enemy in the air, which is ideal. So where do we focus? Too many battles going on at the same time. We've got them down to, we're getting them down to, unfortunately we can't get them down quick enough, because they keep reinforcing. So if this ends up not working, I'm just keeping an eye on that we're not getting counterattacked from Brest-Litovsk, but I think they're trying to hit the other position, which is still held by the 14th. I can still commit forces from the 14th in reserve if I need to. They'll work from here pretty well as well. Other than that, Odessa is holding. This is the attack that concerns me here, but mostly it's just the 3 panzer divisions and the infantry we should be able to hold. And we are now starting to commit. Mountain divisions as well. Yeah, they're running into. They're now circle attacking, so they're getting pushed back by the defense relatively rapidly. And once the 12th Army divisions are in place with the anti-tank capabilities, then we should be able to deal with them without too much trouble. So we've got 9, 16, 18, 20, 24. So a full Panzer Field Army crashing into Odessa. But I think we've countered that, which means in dang it. Okay, abort that. Instead, I don't want to let them escape, but we might have to. This is unfortunate that we don't have supply yet, so we can't sustain. Can we sustain the assault with support from the mountain divisions? That is 3 enemy divisions. We should be able to, once we get supply. How long are we away from supply in Nairobi? That is down to the railway line. It should actually have already. It looks like supply should be trickling in any second now here. So maybe we can get there. Okay, we have completed the next upgrade, and we can recruit an operative. I'm still not entirely certain what happened to the operative in Poland. This seems weird because usually I should be able to run a rescue operation unless they made any changes there. But we do have the Intel network in Poland, so I'm not entirely certain what the problem is. But I'm just simply not being offered the mission to rescue the operative. Well, we can hire a new one. Who do we have? We've got Andreeva, which is efficient for actually operations, which we're not doing right now. We've got Dimitrieva, which is tough. And we've got Nikitina, who has no special skills whatsoever. I'm not actually running any operations at this point. So the torturous fist will break before this operative does. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. I think I'm going to get Andreeva, and we will see where we deploy her. So generally, I'm going to actually probably pull out of Poland, because if Poland is weirdly bugged, then I'd rather have a second operative in Germany. Actually, I do need operatives in Greater Austria as well. I could send one to. Is that a separate? I might actually send her to Brest-Litovsk. Can I send her to Brest-Litovsk for an Intel network? Yes, I can. Okay, so that actually, does that count as what? Does that count as? Brest-Litovsk is current. Oh, it's Ukraine. It's held by Ukraine. Okay, so the remnants of Ukraine. So we actually do need an Intel network there. But I am thinking of taking Smirnova out of Poland and deploying her to Berlin. Yeah, I'll deploy her to Berlin just to make sure that in case one of them gets captured, the other one has an intelligence network to mount a rescue operation. And then that's that. All right, so intelligence. What do we do next here? I go to the localized training centers to get the next agent from abroad. That would probably be not a terrible idea. I haven't really seen many incursions of enemy spies that we could catch, but we've had trouble with cryptology, so that would also be something to do. 10 factories is expensive. What else do we have? Blueprint stealing, don't really need that right now. Don't need that. Invisible ink would be pretty good. We get more intelligence from captured operatives. But the rest, the rest is secondary. Passive defense be good as well, and anti-partisan obviously as well. Something that we eventually need. I might just do the radio interception group. I'll do the localized trading centers, just so when we have another agent, because this one will eventually be declared lost, then we can send them in. We had a breakthrough in terms of battlefield innovations for the Project Transporter, the heavy railway artillery. So we are actually very close to completing this. That's nice to see. We just need a bit more breakthrough to get the third breakthrough point. Then we can do the Land Cruiser. This is just a vanity project. Don't take too much in it. Okay, heavy attacks against Volkovisk here as well. Nope, actually, no, it's just a single one. But heavy concentration of forces. That's a lot of firepower against these relatively weak positions. We may have to pull the 10th army off that, because I don't see much in the Memel sector anymore. So I'm going to get the 10th army to reinforce because this is a relatively weak position that I do not necessarily wish to have. Actually, get me all of the. Actually, no, just the northern parts of the 10th army. So these, and I think that's it. 8 divisions. So let's get them redeployed to bolster the defenses here, because that's a relatively weak spot. These are guards divisions of the elite guards divisions of the 8th Army, but there's relatively few of them. So that is somewhat concerning. Why are you moving off again? This is 12th Army. Make your way here. There's no need for you to move off. Okay, so we are starting to see the anti-tank divisions coming in. Once they have reorganized themselves, and they will be reinforcing the positions here, and then we should be able to deflect Guderian's latest assault. We just have to keep an eye if he's moving off the front lines again. We're still fighting to break through. We're getting counterattacked from the north here now as well. We're still trying to break through the position south of Brest-Litovsk. This is going to be a lengthy battle simply because there's a fair number of them. But I think, and obviously they keep reinforcing them as we push them out. So it'll be a question of who has got more the longer breath. Okay, Elverum position. I do want a. How do we play this? Yeah, we could. I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need that division over here. All right, let's concentrate north of Elverum and see where the Swedes redeploy, and then we'll make our decision here. Kenya. We are now getting counterattacks here at from rapidly deployed enemy divisions to ensure that they're not getting encircled. And Nairobi still doesn't have supply, and that baffles me mildly because this line should have been connected by now. So I'm not entirely certain why that is, but we'll deal with it when we get there eventually. Okay, so that means we can concentrate further on this attack here and see if we can we'll get them down to 7 divisions, and they're falling relatively rapidly now, but obviously they keep getting reinforcements, and it keeps wearing down our attacking troops. The light tank divisions are starting to run out of steam, and they reinforce them as rapidly as we can bring forces in. So I think we may have to give that another shot and move the heavy tank divisions south here for that assault, rather than having them up in the north. And we are now getting counterattacked here by quite significant numbers. We should be able to hold that though. We've got four regular infantry. It's actually not that many. We may have to replan that a little bit and see if we can launch that push again. And unless we can manage to break them there. Of course, they're counterattacking, which isn't helping. All right, we've got the 12th Army troops now deployed, and once they start taking over the lines, then they will be of significant assistance against the German tank attacks. Guderian still has 17, yeah. So he's still focusing here. No attacks north. Yeah, they've completely abandoned the attacks against Memel, and I do need these troops. Okay, I do need these troops to move a bit faster than that. So we've got these. Actually, no, that's probably all right. So they don't lose their organization. They come into the lines on full org. We are now seeing Austrian tank attacks along the lines here, not much, but the main focus remains the Brest-Litovsk situation, where we are still attempting at pushing out the enemy troops here, but they keep reinforcing them as fast as we can dislodge them from their positions. However, that also means that they cannot build up their entrenchment. Okay, north. We have concentrated troops near Elverum. This is unfortunately a slightly fortified position. So what I'll do is get 2 mountain divisions to try and break and encircle, while we leave one in support in the north. Actually, we have the Norwegians here now as well, so we can get this one to move around. We've already dislodged that single Swedish division there, and then we can encircle and destroy 2 more Swedish divisions near Elverum. Rest of the front line seems to be mostly holding. Trondheim secured, and Oslo is holding as well. And here, okay, we have made slight progress, but we do need to. I'm going to need another division here. we do need to make sure that we cut off the enemy troops in the north and then sweep north to deal with them. All right, gateway to the Baltic has been completed. And with that, we have additional dockyards. I think, what do we got? Three dockyards, 2 naval bases. And that's 3 dockyards, 3 naval bases. It's the same price. So that's, so we've got a few options here to get free dockyards, more than we need. So I'm just going to go through these at this point. Unless there is something really urgent that I need. I could get the Violence of Death. This is a 20% artillery attack. Ooh, I'm going to throw that in as well. Plus 25% railway gun bombardment, plus 20% artillery attack. Yes, the Violence of Death. Suvorov do Brusilov, Russia has always won its most spectacular victories through firepower and bravery. Yes, firepower, all of it. Russia's army is not a wall or a scalpel blade, but a hammer, a relentless force that will crush the body and spirit of everything in its path. Whatever Russian artillery cannot level, Russian shock troops will seize at gunpoint. Yes, that's what we'll do. We do have we got the Petrograd Naval Engineering Facility out of that. Okay, so we've got Malinin, who we could employ, a submarine specialist, or Chelikin, who would be a surface ship. Okay, surface ships it is. We don't have any breakthrough points on naval, so it's not much we can do with that. But we have the Obukov MIO, where, ooh, that's tempting. I could get a free dockyard, or I could get 5% hard attack on anti-tank. No, I'll take the anti-tank. Okay, that does mean we do have to upgrade the AT guns, however. Where are they? Yes, anti-tank. Anti-tank. And we can get 25 hard attack. Nice. Okay, save that. And then close that, open that. Yes, and it's the... it is the, what was that? 57mm anti-tank guns, quite capable. We are starting to build up a few of these heavy howitzers now. I might not need actually all that many of them, but all these can wait, because what we just did was just for the anti-tank, so we don't need to upgrade them yet. But the support equipment we might have to. What do I get out of this? Unclear. Let me check that again. So support equipment, max speed 15%. I'm not entirely certain that is relevant to support equipment, but I'll do it anyway, just in case. Let's see if that has any impact whatsoever. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention. We actually have changed the occupation laws in the occupied territories, which means we now have slightly higher resistance targets, because these have changed from. I have mentioned it in the intro. These have changed from martial law to the military governor, and basically what I'm after is the slight increase in compliance. So I'm looking to get a bit more compliance out of these, more compliance growth, and then generally also it's the right thing to do. All right, back to the Odessa front, where we are still seeing massive attacks, but I think with significant specialized forces now in place that can pierce. What do we have? We've got 67 piercing that can still get through. Yeah, that's still enough to deal with the enemy medium tanks without too much trouble. And we've lost Yakovleva, unfortunately, but we have taken down the nose in return, and we've got new ace pilots. We are going to see, in heavy engagements like this, we are going to see a churn in the aces, so we do have to replace them. Obviously, I've brought all the most capable people in, so now the B rank is going to take over, but everybody else I think is still fully equipped. Yes, and we are actually running a relatively decent amount. It seems that our fighter production is actually keeping up with losses in heavily contested terrain. So that is good to see. I think that's due to the low mission efficiency on the enemy side. So if we're doing that over Belarus, that might be a different war. Okay, what's going here? This is still happening. Yeah. So we're winding down now quite noticeably. The enemy troops in the south here, they're down to 6 divisions. Okay, now they're reinforcing again. We've lost the which one is it? The 3rd light tanks in the north, which has been exhausted. Which means, yeah, we've still got some reserves that we can throw in, but in general, well, this might require a slight redeployment. Okay, how's this looking? We are making the way through here. And this should be an attack order. Yeah, there we go. So we're making our way through here. And I think we can cut these 2 Swedish divisions off without too much trouble. What are we going to do in Kenya, however, where we are... we may have to take Mombasa, to be honest, to cut them off after all, because this is all... they have managed to redeploy in time due to the delays with the Nairobi supply situation. Now we have supply. We could attempt. No, they're reinforcing Mombasa. So, alternatively, we'll push them from here out of the mountains, and then just kind of try to push them north and crush them where possible. Because this is starting to get too long here. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll begin with the attack from Nairobi, and we have supporting troops here as well. So with 3 divisions, how much is left there? Okay, we've got the 38th Wehrbezirkskommando and a local Kenyan group. So let's shorten the lines in the north here. And here we are holding Odessa, and no redeployment of tanks just yet, from what I can tell. There's the odd German Panzer Division here. I'm not sure what they're doing here, but their bulk is still deployed in the south. Okay, as long as they stay there, then I'm all good with that. Okay, we're still fighting against rapidly reinforcing infantry positions, but we've now got the 9th heavy tanks on, and with the push from the 9th heavies, we have taken the position. And with that, we will have the reinforcement that we need against Brest-Litovsk. Now, the 6th Army needs to focus on the northern sector, but that also means I do need to redeploy some infantry here. So we're going to get 3 infantry divisions to redeploy against the inevitable counterattack. And with that, we should have secured the southern flank for the assault against Brest-Litovsk. We're now going to concentrate our armored forces around that and then begin preparations for the attack, which means that we might actually keep the Air Force down in Ukraine for the time being, while everything else is preparing again, because I think these should be fully planned, but I do need to give the heavy tanks. Stay where you are. You're in good positions. I do need to give the heavy tanks a time to reorganize and time to plan the actual attack. But with that, I think we're still struggling for supply here. But with that, I think we're positioned now for the assault on Brest-Litovsk. Feng Tian would like docking rights. No, actually, I do not wish to give Feng Tian docking rights. Okay, this is actually less than ideal because the Swedes are moving out of Elverum. I can use one of these divisions to pin them in place. The other one is going to move around. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Kenyan situation, moving north, and we'll reinforce the east. We'll move more north towards north from Nairobi, and we'll have to look for an opportunity maybe to break through towards the coast, cut them off, and then destroy the northern flank before we move on towards Mombasa. Otherwise, it is going to be too much territory to hold. All right, back here. Now we do have to keep an eye on things. Massive counterattack against the 9th, obviously, but it is going to be reinforced with a few infantry divisions in no time. and then we should be able to hold this, hopefully. 9th is getting assaulted now from with everything that they have, including enemy tanks. So we're now seeing the first time that we are fighting enemy tank divisions. So the 6th Kraftfahrtjäger Division has armor of 50 on the medium tanks. Unfortunately for them, the 9th heavy tanks have a piercing of 85. So the 75mm high velocity cannons of the heavy tanks have no problem whatsoever. And the amount of hard attack that we've got is going to absolutely massacre these enemy divisions. That said, we still need to get the infantry divisions to reinforce this to make sure that we're not getting pushed out again. While the rest of and we do need to actually we're starting to lose ground here with the 9th, simply from the significant amount of firepower that's incoming. But I think how long are we from 1 day 6 hours? We might not be able to hold that long. Yeah, the 9th is getting pushed back now from the massed counterattacks across all lines here. But we will see if we can get we should get the infantry there before they reinforce. I think the infantry can take this, because the rest of the infantry has taken it, because the rest of the troops are are under significant strain at this point. In order to hold back the vicious enemy counterattacks. And we've got we'll have 4 infantry divisions. Unfortunately, this position is vulnerable from the south again, because it is not actually fortified. So this means we may need. I think we're safe here. We might be able to get the rest of these as a stabilizing force north. Yeah, we're going to get the rest of the 6th Army's light tanks to hold to stabilize this part of the line here, and make sure that we can hold out against these counterattacks, because these divisions had no time to dig in, and they're getting bombarded from everywhere. We'll temporarily send this one in to assist with the defense. Okay, so we've got the 3rd Light Tank Division. We'll give them a separate order to stay here for now. We're holding the line in the north. Everything needs to now defend against the crushing counterattack here from combined German-Austrian, mainly Austrian, German infantry, Austrian forces crushing in. The attack against the Volkovisk line is being held, and in Sweden, I think we have managed to destroy the division in Elverum. I haven't been looking because too many things have been going on. Let's see if they have escaped. No, they might have escaped us, actually. Nope. That was Elverum. We've got 2 divisions. We've caught 2 enemy divisions in Elverum have been destroyed. We're relieving Oslo at this point, and that means I think we can be a little bit more fluent in our. I'm going to reassign these. We can be a little bit more fluent in our assignments here. So let's get 3 divisions concentrated, because it seems that we can move quite effectively. We'll try to take Fredrikstad, relieve the assault against Oslo, and break through additional Swedish lines here. So we can, given that we've got Norwegians here already, we can already begin with the 64th, the legendary 64th, to move ahead. Everything else seems to hold reasonably well against with assistance from the Norwegians. So we'll clean up the south here, see if we can secure Oslo. And all in all, we've made great progress in Sweden. We have made very slow grinding progress in Brest-Litovsk, and we are furiously contesting the air here against massed German forces. Are these mostly Germans? So the bulk of the fighters, the bulk of the German fighter forces here. and a few enemy bombers, but they are losing bombers rapidly. Now, what I'm curious about is what the production capacity is. That's one reason I actually wanted to get some more intelligence about Greater Austria. They've got a fair amount of production on aircraft. They have a fair amount of factories as well to deal with. Yeah, they are large at this point. And their air force is definitely not to be underestimated. They've got low numbers of fighters, but quite a few bombers. So they're more heavily focused on bombers. But the other question would be, how much rubber do they have? That would be in the civilian. They have no access to rubber. Yeah, that's going to be their major problem in maintaining production capacity. Germany doesn't have access to rubber anymore as well either. So they have 55 factories on aircraft production, but they have a large numbers of Focke-Wulf 190s and Bf 109s, but the bomber force is not quite as strong as the Austrians. So if they don't have rubber, and this could be due to the interceptions that we've done that we're doing in the Atlantic, that they're no longer getting that through. We have, what have we lost here? None of ours, so nothing to be concerned about. It could be that they're running into severe problems with transporting rubber out of Africa and out of specifically Ceylon towards the homeland, given the naval blockades that are going on. So with that all ongoing, I think let's have a quick review of where we are. We've lost another ace, unfortunately, so we'll need to replace him as well. And we've got spares, so it's not that they're irreplaceable. They're just not as good. So I had the most qualified aces deployed elsewhere. All right, the rest here looks good. How about Kenya? Okay, we're starting. Oh, we have a potential gap here. Yes. Okay, so you go there, you pin, and with that, we have actually Persian troops now assisting as well with the assault on Mombasa. But I think we have an opportunity here now to cut off the enemy troops and to begin focusing our divisions on the northern front line. So let's do that. We'll see if we can manage to, if we can get the 141st over eastwards to cut off the northern divisions. Then we'll collapse that, and then we'll head for Mombasa. So that's progress. Here, okay, we are starting to run into enemy troops, but I think not as much trouble as not giving us as much trouble as I thought they would. I think actually they're just low on organization generally, and the Mountaineers are very, very capable divisions. Okay. So, given that we're planning for the Brest-Litovsk assaults now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the storm divisions and swap them over to the super heavy artillery. That is, I might also, I'm almost thinking to give them the long-range patrol, simply because it is, actually that doesn't give us attack bonus in urban. Does anything give us attack bonus in urban? Plains, jungle, hills, forest, no. This is just movement, and this is just movement as well. Yeah, nothing interestingly enough for urban combat in that regard. So I think we're good there, and I'll just replace that with the super heavy artillery. Save that for 10, and they can be reconstituted while we are planning the attack. We've got IMZ. This is for support equipment. So we have these two to choose from. That's production output cost, production resource need, and 15% research bonus. I'll take it. Okay, that applies immediately. This is good for the support companies. Now, the tanks. Okay, you need to rapidly redeploy, please, because we are not waiting for you to make your way there on foot. So it's going to take forever. So rapidly redeploy north. We do have. Why do I have these light tank divisions here now? Oh, these were already coming from the south. Okay, that's good. All right, we have to hold the lines in the north now here as well. So this position is coming under significant assault too, where we are struggling actually to hold the line here. So I might... where's the 9th heavy armored? Let's have a look. 9th is here. Okay, we've got all 3 here now. So... we do need to take care that we're not losing the southern flank of Brest-Litovsk. Unfortunately, we're now seeing a coordinated mass assault to retake these positions, and these are unfortified, so they're going to be a little bit more difficult to defend. That said, we are having. We're getting the light tanks into place, and the rest of the troops should be able to hold out against the German attacks. Has Guderian repositioned? He's still got 6, 8, 11. No, he's still got most of his tanks at Odessa. So the anti-tank divisions are doing their job, and we are just about to hold here. Now the big question in Kenya: can we break? Can we make it eastwards before things go sideways? We've lost another ace. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that in a second. And we've lost, we haven't lost a submarine, but we've lost Allied convoys to Austrian submarines. Well, there's not much we could do about that, because we only have submarines in the area. All right, this is the more critical part here. Can we hold this position? Because currently we are relying on a single foreign division here to hold that line, which means I am actually going to need, I might actually need additional light tanks on the northern flank here. Which one is the 6th Army? 6th Army here. So let's get these 2 light tanks moved into the northern. Can I get around that somehow? No, I'm gonna have to move through it. This is becoming a critical position. I am going to divert the 14th Army troops here temporarily. I'm going to get them to fall back into the other front lines to ensure that we are not being pushed out here, and that we can hold this position against these very determined German counterattacks. So we'll see if we can. Yeah, unfortunately, they are constantly being pinned by counterattacks outside of Brest-Litovsk itself. All right, the 76mm field guns are complete, and that is just a progressive design. So that's complete, which means we now have a research slot. We do need the advanced radio, really, actually. That's quite important. Concentrated is still a bit ahead of time, and I don't have a research bonus for it. So I'm not going to take it yet, but I think I'm going to grab the advanced radio, because that is quite essential to take. And we are still not at 3 points for land. For the land things. Okay, here we do need to. I might actually need more divisions here to hold the line. If we cannot hold this, that would be unfortunately we can't even manage to fall back troops here to from the other beleaguered positions to assist with that, because we're getting pushed back on all front lines. So we might lose the southern positions. It's not the end of the world. We can counterattack that. We do have the tank positions, but we do need to find a way to stabilize this front line around Brest-Litovsk against the enemy assaults, because all of these positions are now under fierce assaults. I could attempt a counterattack from the 7th Army, but I think they have enough dug-in divisions here that we can't easily get in there. All right. Unfortunately, I can't secure both air zones. I can only secure one or the other. So right now we're securing the Ukrainian air zone, which means that the attacks here in the north unfortunately are getting hammered from the air, which is an additional problem. But I can only secure one of them, not both. So this is remaining a very tense position where we have to try and stabilize around Brest-Litovsk, hold all these, then get the armored divisions in place for supporting an assault against the city proper, and that will be hopefully the breakthrough that we need. And then from there, we will attempt to push towards Bialystok, cut off troops near Volkovysk with the armored spearhead. Once we've taken Brest-Litovsk, we've got open plains here south of Bialystok. The forests will be a bit harder to take, but we have multiple angles from which we can assault that. And we will, if we can destroy significant amounts of enemy troops here, then we can start rolling over the northern part of the front lines. But it all hooks on Brest-Litovsk, so if we have to take Brest-Litovsk. It is imperative that we do so. Unfortunately, we are getting counterattacked across the whole line, and they might change hands a few times in that regard. Have we broke? Yes, we have. So in Kenya, we have managed to secure the lines here, which means we can now begin the assaults north. Well, do they have supply anywhere? We've got Nairobi, which should give us sufficient supply, and they have nothing really supply-wise. So they should only have local supply. The question is, for where do we launch the attack from? I think we have to be careful that we're not. Yeah, we cannot leave this open, because otherwise they'll come out of Mombasa. So instead, what we'll probably do is push east here, and then see if we can get across the river, and we'll support that attack from here. In Sweden, we are trying to break Fredrikstad, but that is actually reasonably difficult, so we're going to have to defend against the counterattack first. And here obviously we have to be careful not to be cut off as well. So we've got the 60th to hold the position here, and okay, for now we'll just defend here. This is the critical position. Can we get tanks there in time to hold the positions south of Brest-Litovsk? We've managed to get the 2 divisions of the 14th Army to reinforce this. That gives us a bit of much needed firepower, but they are still facing determined attacks by a full field army, including panzer divisions now. Has Guderian shifted? 31st Panzer Division. From where? I'm not entirely certain I see it. These are Austrians. I'm not certain from where he's redeployed 2 panzer divisions to Brest-Litovsk, and they're trying to break out from there now as well. Okay, yeah, so we definitely need, we're probably going to shift, additional armored forces here. Okay, this is all unfortunately getting rather messy. But we will have to see if we can hold in some manner here against the incessant counterattacks. We've got, unfortunately, the tank divisions here now that were supposed to reinforce the southern flank, and the 14th they're trickling in now. So we've got 2 divisions from the 14th, and we're starting to see the light tank division from the 6th here coming in as well. The air situation over Belarus is not great, and I might actually have to, given that we are holding Odessa relatively well, I might have to redeploy the Air Force to Belarus, because this is going to make, we're going to need it there anyway eventually. So let's get the air wings deployed to Belarus. That's 6 there. We've got these here. These can go. I need 4 here. The other 2 can go over there. And then I've got a few here still that aren't moving. These 2, they can go there. Okay. So we'll leave the Ukrainian air zone for now. Odessa should be stable. and that'll assist with the because we're going to need to control that eventually anyway for the assault against Brest-Litovsk. We have another Panzer division. Yes, not Panzer division, heavy tanks, Terry. So I am going to get them. Which one is the 6th Army front line? This is the mountain. This is the 6th Army. Okay, so we're going to get it up to that line. And I am going to need it to take the rail towards Kubrin and then redeploy from there. Okay, so we're trying everything we can to hold the offensive lines near Brest-Litovsk, and we are going to see if we can mount a counterattack. Whew. Honestly, this is sort of what I wanted. A significantly harder fight. I was looking for that. But it's certainly keeping me on my toes. I gotta have to say that. And I'm not sure if it's the latest update. Okay, yeah, Guderian has moved the tanks off Odessa. Where are they gone? So it's a constant. If you miss it, they're going back to Memel. I don't know yet. That's the problem. I don't know where they are until they crash into our front lines, and then I have to redeploy the anti-tank guns. Yeah, so it's on knife's edge. It's a dance to deploy forces to counter enemy attacks, and it is a significant number of troops here, I have to say, for this. I mean, April 1942, usually you don't see that many troops out here. So their successes in Europe certainly have brought them the economy that they needed in order to give us a hard fight along the lines. That said, overall losses still below 300,000 for the Russians, despite the extremely hard fighting on the front lines. We are trying everything we can to avoid casualties. On the enemy side, Germany is approaching 3 million total, and Austria is approaching 1.5 million total. So they are bleeding significantly more than we are, despite the fact that we're not actually destroying divisions effectively, but just fighting back against them. The amount of equipment losses on the enemy side in the last 12 months alone, over 10,000 medium tanks have been destroyed, for the losses of about 49 heavy tanks and 390 light tanks. So pretty good ratio there, I'd say. And obviously the rest of the losses, you can see it for yourself, is disproportionate, I would say. This is an order of magnitude higher combat losses than what we've taken. And in that regard, we are making progress in Africa. We are fighting the fight of our lives, and you can't take your eyes off this one, in Europe. We are making advances in Scandinavia. And I think even Finland is advancing here now as well. So Sweden is under all kinds of pressure. In Asia, we have not managed to dislodge the German East Asian troops here, but they also haven't managed to make any further advances. The Philippines is a stalemate at this point. Japan has what is this? This does not look like it's owned by German East Asia. It's Japan's color game, but it says it's owned by German East Asia. That is odd. I would almost argue that that's probably incorrect. That probably these parts have been taken by Japan. So there are island campaigns going on. Nobody knows yet what the Americans are doing. Japan has landed again in Shanghai. They've done this already once, but I don't think they have taken the port, so they might not be successful there. But they are definitely slowly grinding their way south here now that they have Beijing secured. And in South America, Brazil is still holding out against Argentina. The United States haven't made a move at this point, so we don't know what they're doing just yet. A potential future vector would be to get Greece into the war and weaken and open a southern front against Austria. But that would require us to effectively, we might have to take out the Ottomans, to be honest, and see if we can just to have a line to resupply and also to be able to get the fleet deployed here again in outside the Black Sea. That said, there's a fair number of the Austrians might have a few ships here now, so that might actually not be viable as well. This is all long-term stuff. For now, the ground war goes on, and the strategic hinge for the whole front line is Brest-Litovsk, who would have guessed, and Bialystok. This is where the war on the Eastern Front for the Reichspakt and the Western Front for Russia gets decided. If we can take Bialystok and begin seriously taking prisoners and attriting the front lines, then we might be able to push towards Warsaw and even probably towards Danzig and make a significant move into Reichspakt territory that we weren't previously able to. The other things that's obviously still coming is Marines. So we're going to be seeing Marine divisions, and at some point we are going to see the Navy. The first of the Ismails is going to be refitted relatively soon, and the other refits are still trickling in as we are ramping up on the dockyards overall.